Yo, Theo here. Monday. So this is the week when the cut starts. So what's gonna happen first here is I'm gonna do a deload. And a deload, if you don't know, that's when you like active rest. You train as you usually do, but lower the intensity, the weights or just the intensity, lower reps or weights. And yeah, I since I started training, I've basically never had true deload. Like I've had like one deload workout every here and there, but at a certain point, if you train a lot and hard, it isn't like I train today, I'm sore tomorrow, the next day I'm fully recovered. You're building fatigue over time. And yeah, you probably need a longer break sometimes. And so a deload is, yeah, a more fun break, I guess. You still train, but just not quite as hard. But yeah, I've been so addicted to progress, so I've had a really hard time doing like an actual deload. So this one is still pretty short, but I've planned this for so long. The bulk, the little deload before the cut. And so now I'm looking forward to it because I'm doing my push-pull legs twice a week in the gym 6 times a week, never missing a workout. And it's fun. I love it, but it is exhausting. It is work too, and so because I've thought about it so much, I'm just gonna go through push-pull legs once on a lower intensity. Like I'll do the heavy exercises on the same weight. I usually do them. I just lower the reps, and for the higher rep stuff I lower the weights and do the same reps, so it isn't quite as intense. Yeah, but so this time, for once, I'm looking forward to training 3 days in a row when I take it easy, And then on the last day, on Thursday, I'm going to have my last meal before I do a 72 to 96 hour fast. And then, yeah, that's what's going to happen now, basically, this week. So to the topic, I said I was going to talk about the sexual revolution and why it was a mistake. And I have so much, it's a little hard. I probably should have made 2 videos yesterday because I had, sometimes you're just in a certain state of mind. You have some things you've been thinking about, maybe something in your life that made you think about it. So it's a little harder now to just start talking about it out of nowhere because, yeah, I could probably talk about this for hours, really. But so, I'll just go. We'll see what ends up. I'm going to come back to this subject for sure. So it's not going to be a history lesson about some political thing that happened and now the sexual revolution happened. What I mean is just that I've learned that sex is kind of like food, it exists in excess. It's something that is necessary for survival, but not in the way we're doing it right now. Like exactly how we don't need pizza and candy and sodas every day to survive. We don't need to just have sex with strangers or non-reproductive sex just for pleasure, And so let me just tell you my story about it, and maybe you'll get it. So I remember wanting to have sex back when I was like 11 or 12. I really, really, really wanted to. Even already then, even at such a young age, you came over some porn, some nude pictures or whatever. Even then, I felt like a loser, jerking off to this stuff instead of actually having sex with a woman. I wanted it so bad, And yeah, this kept going. It's like all we thought about as guys. And I realized that puberty is a thing, and situations might arise where you get horny or something, in school, seeing the girls in the dress, whatever, yeah, it's natural in that way, but we're so very spammed. Like, I shouldn't have had access to porn at such an early age, right? Why is porn and sex stuff is so very accessible, and kids getting introduced to this so early, like we get obsessed with it, and also that's this is my point. It's hard to talk about because there's so many things to say, like even how the sex is in the porn. You get a very, very, very I mean, who am I to say what sex is supposed to be like? But I'm saying you get a lot. You expect to be as good as everything, going as smooth as in the porn, you know, but it never does in reality. So it sets up this big expectation on you to perform, both for girls and guys. Um, yeah, and I had sex for the first time when I was like 14. Uh, I was going to be 15 real soon. Um, and you know, it wasn't good or anything, but I just felt proud, you know, that I lost my virginity, because this was something I thought was, you know, one of the biggest status things as a guy, at least. Losing your virginity, being a virgin, was, you know, dorky or something. And so, and from this point until I was like 20, the only sexual interactions I had was like one night stands with alcohol involved, always. And I still, inside of me, I still felt like a virgin, you know, because I felt like I didn't know what I was doing and stuff like that. And yeah, you never really learn if you just have sex with a random girl you meet in a bar or at a party or something. And at a party when you're, you know, a teenager, maybe in just some random room in a house where the party's at. And so, yeah, the thing, I was chasing this to make myself feel better. But I never really felt better from it. You know, I know I wanted other people to know that I hooked up with someone, you know, for status. So it didn't matter, you know, if the sex was really bad and everything. Because the important part was, you know, the cred. And so that's what I've realized now, being where I am today, that you have like, there's two things that drives you to want to have sex. There's one actual physical thing, like hunger or anything. You just feel like you have to do it, you know. But the other thing is looking for validation. And what I found is a lot for us guys, it's when we were traumatized by our mothers growing up, we look for love through sex from women, look for validation in that way. So because now that part is gone for me, I'm gonna go back to the past a little bit. But now, how I feel about it today is, you know, I have higher testosterone than ever. I haven't gone asexual. You know, I get horny for sure, but it's just that I don't feel like a loser if I don't have sex, because now I've learned the hard way that you're not a winner if you're if you're a sex addict looking for sex, casual sex all the time. Now that I've learned that you're absolutely not a winner living that way, you know, I can disconnect. If I just get over the physical urge, you know, there's nothing, you know, making me trying to get laid all the time. And so I for like 6 years or so, I had this, you know, I never felt, it didn't matter if I hooked up with a few girls close to each other, or if I went a few months without getting any. I always felt like I was getting too little and I was a loser. I wasn't an alpha male, because I thought sleeping with lots of women was alpha. Now I see it the other way around. But so I got into a relationship when I was 20. And so this was the first time I started having like sex regularly with one girl. And once again, so many things to say really. But what I noticed was that the women control you with sex. It's very subtle. I don't even know if they're doing it half the time. But you know, you love having sex with them so much. You're so addicted to it. You want to do it all the time, basically, when you hang out. And, you know, she can be up for it. And all of a sudden, you can't really know why. She just says, no, I'm not in the mood. And you feel frustrated because you're horny, but also you feel like such a loser. She has such control over you. She's making you're getting mad now that you're not getting laid. And then when you start to think about it, it's usually a punishment for something you have done, or that they are holding out on you because they want something from you. And when they get what they want, well, then you get laid again. So that's something I learned, because, yeah, after a while I wanted to break up with this girl. We were together for like 2 years. I felt great. I felt so trapped in the relationship. Like we lived in my small apartment, we lived together most of the time. There was no own space, you know. You're always in each other's faces, and I started to feel trapped, like we didn't have too much in common. I didn't love her, and so we broke up. And I felt great at first, really great. I almost felt ashamed when she, because I remember coming home from school or something, and I just had an empty apartment to come home to, and I was just so, it was so nice. But then, after few months, even though I started hooking up with some other girls, you know, that's another thing. One reason I wanted to get out of the relationship was I still felt like a beta, like I had to sleep with a certain amount of girls before I was a true alpha, you know. So stupid. But so that was one of the things motivating me too, actually, to get out of the relationship. But even though when I slept with a few other girls, you know, I started, because you know, I didn't count on this, but you especially as a guy, you really get addicted sexually to the woman when you're living together like that and you have sex a lot, and yeah, so I really started to get, you know, I started thinking that I had made a mistake. I still loved her, and I was too foolish to see it when I was with her, and so we started, you know, kind of hanging out again, having sex, but she had control over it the whole time. I wanted to get back together, and she didn't want to, and she could kind of have me as the safe card, you know, get her validation, get the good sex, because, you know, I hate talking about that, but you know, when you're with someone for that long, of course, you know, you learn, you get good at having sex together, you know. So she could have all that for free, and I just felt miserable. It was awful for me to think that someone else was, I was sharing, you know, my girl, I thought, with someone else. And yeah, horrible time in my life. I really felt heartbroken, I thought. But what I know now is I was like a heroin addict, very much like a heroin. It was a physical need. Like I didn't feel it this strong when we were together. Like if I smelled something that was hers, and I felt her smell, I got like this animal horniness, really strong just from that. It was insane. So what ended up happening, we like I said, we hung out some, we had more sex. I tried to get us back together, didn't work. And then finally, because I felt so awful from all of this was before the panic attack thing, by the way, but only like a little less than a year before. But so I realized, you know, this was strong of me to do in that state, because I was a weak person back then. But I met her and I told her that if we can't be, I need to end this if we can't be together anymore. I'm just feeling too awful. You know, lots of crying for me there and stuff. And so I remember it's awful. It's awful when you have to break out of this. I remember I thought about her like almost every second. We're not talking about like, oh, 1 time per hour she enters my mind. I talk about every time you aren't occupied with something, like maybe talking to someone or so, you think about it, and I had this song from Michael Jackson in my head. And I don't know, and I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, she's out of my life. Yeah, that's the song. It's so strong, it's so real when you're in that state. Yeah, but so okay. Maybe this seems like I'm all over the place, and I probably am, because I said it's so much to say about this. But when I finally got over it, you know, I tried. That's true. Before I got over it, I tried to make myself feel better by trying to sleep with as many girls as I could. And you know, I slept with a few, but I had to work for it so much. I didn't get the girls I thought was the most attractive. And what ended up happening was, like at the night, because I was a party person, when you're out drinking and stuff, maybe you're feeling like you're enjoying it right then and it's fun. Then you go home, have like mediocre sex with a stranger, and then the next day I just woke up having extreme anxiety, which I already had all the time, but from the alcohol and realizing I'm lying next to some stranger, I feel like crap. She's not even that attractive. How will I get her out of here? And this cycle just repeated itself so much. And this was one of the things I think it was different stuff in my life that just made me feel like something is so wrong, everything is so awful. But this for sure was one of the things leading up to my panic attacks. And so what ended up happening, that some things like alcohol for me, for instance, it disappeared by itself. I barely drink now, and it's not a conscious choice. It's not a choice because I can't let I would really want to drink, but I can't let anything interfere with my training. It's not like that at all. It just happened. Same thing with sex. I realized I could see through everything now. I was wrong. I mean, because when I did get laid a lot even, I mean, look at me, who I was. I was such a loser, such a, yeah, not a good person. I had this moral dilemma that I was really disgusted by women sleeping around, being, loose like that. But it's such a hypocrite thing to think when you want to get laid all the time. So how are you even supposed to get laid all the time if you think girls shouldn't sleep around like that? Yeah. So when I could see this so clearly, and I could see so clearly how badly the sleeping with strange women affected me, it was just obvious to me. I don't need this. This is ridiculous. We've been fooled by the very, very, very overly sexualized society. And so now, what I can see now, because I can see my old self in other guys, it looks so pathetic to me when guys that I know are sleeping, like friends and just people I know, that I know they are sleeping with girls all the time. And in any situation, if there's a girl there, it doesn't matter if she's not very attractive at all or something, they're just so desperate for her attention, for validation from this girl. And they'll do so much, go to such lengths just to get laid with a woman that they aren't really that interested in. Because yeah, and this is why I think it's so weak. It's the biggest beta male trait to be so desperate for sex all the time. Because us men, we're supposed to be better than that, just following our simple urges. And if we, because the cool thing now is I can tell women that I think you shouldn't sleep around with lots of guys. You will decrease your value. Because if I say that, you'll always get, what about guys? Well, why should guys be able to do that but not girls? And I can just go, no, I agree. Guys shouldn't do that too. We need to be perfect examples. If we want women to behave in a certain way, we have to behave in the same way, or else they won't do as we say. They will do as we do, and we don't do it just because we want them to do. We do it because it's the right thing to do. Sex is for reproduction. The whole thing with it being pleasurable and all, it's just for when we didn't have this civilization and everything, we just needed to know. That's the way we knew we needed to have sex because to make children. And now today we know that anyways. So we shouldn't, it's the same thing. Just because candy tastes good doesn't mean you should eat it all the time. It's the same with sex. Just because it feels nice doesn't mean you should have it all the time. And yeah, I'm running out of space just talking on and on and on, and there's still so many things I think I haven't mentioned that I want to mention. I just have 1 minute left here. But yes, I hope you can see it. I hope I made some kind of sense in this little rant. Yeah, the big difference, remember, is, like I said, I still get the physical urge for girls. And I look better than ever, more attractive to girls than ever. But I still don't go looking for sex at all, because I'm just so over it. I know when I was obsessed with getting laid, I felt awful, and looking back, I was not a very good person in some ways too. Yeah, that's gonna be it. I hope it was a decent video. Please like and subscribe for more rants like this. Just look at this face. and see if you're just someone passing by. That guy, he looks nice, he has a nice voice, and he's saying all this very smart stuff. Better subscribe. All right, peace.